Exciting day
Hello.
today.
Yes. Hello, everybody. We'll go ahead and mute out the lines and get it started. All right. I know we're a few minutes past, but we are streaming live. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Big waves to you. So the thought process we've been going on today, and I've been talking back and forth with Andrea on for this segment, is income goals. Okay, but I want to preface this. Today's going to be income focused goals, meaning what do you want to do here? What do you want to make here? What do you want to see happen here for you? Okay, and we've got a layout. Okay, that I believe that if you've got a team, you need to get your team strategically focused around this, whether it's building internationally, whether it's building in your hometown. The people that are in your business that are engaged and they want to create income with network marketing, I believe today could be recreated and you could use it as a tool to teach and get people focused around. Because I want to bring you to this, okay? And I actually, if I were to ask you right now individually, before we get this thing started, no matter how young you are or how old you are, if I were to ask you, what does your money wheel, financial wheel look like today? Okay. Now we can all posture. Okay. I'm fine. I got a job. I got money. But when we lay down our head at night, we know the real truth. How many of you have been in a place where you've had to posture before? Like you're wearing the clothes, you're dressed like you're saying the right words, but when you lay your head down at night, you know you're almost an imposter of what reality is. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a bad person or me a bad person, but you're faking it, right? You're just having to fake it in the season you're in. But really, when you lay your head down at night, you're really worried about, man, one slip up, one issue, one problem, and I'm in a world of hurt financially. And so for me, what I've learned, and I'm so grateful for my mentor, is I've always got an image of what my financial wheel looks like. And what's your image? And what I mean by that is, if I were to kind of follow me here just a little bit, follow me. If because this lesson this morning we're going to get to in just a second, but what does your investments and cash flow look like? Like, and I started drawing this up and I went, well, have you got a job? Okay, that's a cash flow. That I don't, have what does your cash look like you got in the bank or saved up, or you're sleeping on it at night? What does that look like? What is actual cash on hand? If I were to call you up and go, give me all your cash, what does that look like? And then what's your stocks look like? Are you diversified in the market of stock? What about cryptocurrency? Some people go yay, some people go nay. But is cryptocurrency something? What about real estate? Like, do you have rentals? Do you have Airbnbs? Do you flip homes? Do you like what does that look like? Or maybe you've got a second job. I tell people all the time, I'm always looking for ways to another cash quadrant. Like how can I form another cash quadrant in my life? And you'd laugh at some of them. If you went, Brent, do you own a lawn cutting service? Well, I don't actually cut grass, but the answer is yes, I actually do own a lawn cutting service. Like what is your cash quadrant? Is lawn cutting residual? Well, is grass growing every month? Not every month, but half the year it is. So my point being is, What does yours look like? If you can mentally go, okay, I, I, I I don't have a lot of this, then maybe I had to get a second job to drive more cash into my flow. And we can talk more about that. One of the things I'm going to use this chalk talk is to bring people on that's making it happen and that has made it happen over the years, right? So one of the things that I'm grateful for, and Andrea just actually got back from Eric Worre's home in Las Vegas, was the fact that when you're making money, it's like our mindset needs to be make more, spend less, and find ways to invest the rest, like leverage it. So for the day, to come, and I'm really trying not to just heavily beat this into the ground, but guys, we talked about it last week. We might be seeing 12% inflation by the end of the year. Like we all remember and went through 08, 09. So let's dig our well now, okay? Because I am a guy that's a glass half full. I'm not a doom and gloom, but I am a reality checker. And when I look at the GDP right now, when I see what consumer spending is doing right now, and I see the trend, I know this. I got to have my shovel out right now. And so, where I want us to mentally go today, and Andrea, if you don't mind to pull it up, I want us to go and mentally in our mindset is I want us to look at some goals around income, like income goals. And I'm going to pause this today for a little bit, okay? But I want you to think about your like income goals. Like living in May 2022. If all you have to do is listen to the world and listen to some things going on right now, and it's like inflation's going up, this is going up, interest rates are going up. So I've got to set my income goals from May 22 to May 2023. Like 1 year from today, Brent Palmer, will earn blank per month by May 2023. I got to have a goal. I've got to set some intentions. So, in saying that, I want you to, I, I would love for you to have something to write down. Andrea, maybe pan out where I could see everybody if you could. I want to take a minute, okay? Now, we got 2 roads to go down this chalk talk, okay? We're going to be done. My goal is to be off at 15 till, I hope. But participate with this activity. It will help you, and then you can use it with others. So let's take 3 minutes of silence right here, 3 minutes. And I want you to seriously write down a goal from where do you want to be in the next 12 months per month in New Age as one of your cash flow quadrants. Maybe it's your main cash flow quadrant, doesn't matter. Where do you want to be in 1 year with your income coming in from New Age by May 2023, 12 months from now? We're going to take 3 minutes. Dun, no, 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 no. If you're just joining us, we're taking a minute. We're writing down over the next 12 months by May 2023, what do we want our monthly income to be in New Age? What's our goal? All right. Whew. Rick says that's exhausting. 3 minutes of silence there. No, no, no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But here's the thing. I want to do it exact because I want you to use this chalk talk and to be able to leverage it within your team. Because there's a lot of people that are not here today or not on this, right? Okay. So here's the thing. The reason I've got to set some intention around Brent Palmer, by May of 2023 is going to be earning X amount of dollars in New Age. That's what I want for myself. That's my goal, is because I got to figure out here in this quadrant, if I mentally got this, I challenge you to don't be scared of this, but do it. Because for you, you know, for you, you might not have any crypto, real estate, job two, stock, very little cash. So your job one, or you might have a job one and your job two is New Age, or you might have New Age as your job one. But the bottom line is, how do I develop these others? Right here at New Age, right here at New Age. But you got to identify like some metrics that you want 1 year from today, 1 year from May. So, all right, Andrea, if you will, pull up that other slide. We'll move back to that in just a second. So pull up the other slide. And I want to ask you some questions. And crazy enough, we're going to take another break. Okay. And I want you to think about them. I want you to write them down. You can take a screenshot of this if you would like. What needs to happen for this to be true? Because see, we can all set goals. We can all set criteria. Oh, I want to make $100,000. Oh, I want to make $10,000 a month. But how do I do it? Like, what needs to happen for me to be able to do it? So, number one, what is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Well, where's the gap? Second question, what must happen to fill that gap? What I got to do to fill the gap? What can I control? What can I control? What needs to change in my life to make this happen? What needs to change? And then what do I have to work with? What do I have to work with? What's the things that I have? What's the tools that I have to work with to make this happen, to make this goal happen? Okay. Andrea, if you think that everybody's got that written down, those 5 things, 5 questions. Okay. And we're going to come back on this, but I want to take, crazy enough, some of you might say, you know what, I'm out of this thing for today. It's not, it's tough sometimes talking about like, but if you know you're going to Oklahoma, then now we got to figure out how we're going to get there, right? So it's the same way here. Like, if I know I want to make X amount of dollars by May of 2023, now I got to figure out, okay, how do I get to that point? And that's what we're about to dive into. Because at the end of the day, why are we doing this? I'm going to keep doing this. Why are we doing this? Because we're going to dig our well before we're thirsty. Because thirst is coming. Thirst is coming. We live through it All of us lived through it, 08, 09. We saw it, and it's not doom or gloom. It's called wisdom. And so we're just living, we're being wisdomatic right now. So, okay, 10 minutes. Let's put down those 5 questions. We'll go back and forth to those 5 questions and the timer right here over the next 10 minutes. Okay. Let's put those 5 questions back up, Andrew. Once you start the timer, I want 10 minutes to kind of just jot them down. And just so you know, we're not going to like pull this out of you or anything. This is for you. Okay. This is for you. So don't be scared to write anything down. You don't have to share it with me. What is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Andrew, you got the timer? Have we started? Okay, we have the timer is on. We got 10 minutes. All right, let's move back to the questions then. What is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? What if I'm making $1,000 a month right now and I want to make 5,000? So 5,000 is my goal. What is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Well, $4,000. What must happen to fill that gap? Well, if I want to make $4,000 more, how do I get paid here? Think about what's the gap? What's the things I can do to fill the gap? Andrew, let's move it back to the question, if you will. Got about 7 minutes left. So I know this is kind of homework kind of part of it, which I don't love either, but this is good. This is what we need. Another question, what can I control? What really can you control in New Age? Can you control if Deanna creates a new video or not? Probably not. What can you control? What needs to change? Only you or only me knows that for our own self. Like what what you're doing today is not earning you what you want to earn. What do you need to change in your life, which probably is going to lend itself to having conversations with people, letting them know you're serious about where you're going. And so you're probably going to have to make some changes to allow yourself more time, freedom to go do this thing. How much time we got, Adrian? The time's the hardest part. So hopefully you'll recreate this one day with your team. The dead silence might be the toughest. This is super powerful, though, if you're willing to do it. How much time? The last question says, what do I have to work with? Team, leaders, like what do you have to work with? Tools, smart links. Like what's going to help you aid? We'll talk about that. We got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We got about 1 minute and 30 seconds. We'll go back to the questions real quick. It's going to be so worth it for you to do this. When time's up, let's just pan out to everybody. We can go ahead and pan out. All right, time's up. Good deal. So I knew the most, just so you know, if you use this, and if you want this PowerPoint, if you message Andrea, she'll send it over to you. But probably the toughest thing is the time limit, of sitting here on a Zoom, looking at each other in awkward silence. But so the first question was, what is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Okay. Andrea, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay,
yes,
good deal.
You're back.
So
you disappeared for a minute.
I disappeared. All right, so here's where I'm going with this. So maybe my one thing I could have right here is how many lines of business? Okay, I'm how many lines of business do I need to get to where I want to go? Right? So if you are in our business, let me just give you an example. If you're in our business, and I'm gonna go really big right here, and you optimize an income position, which is 13,334. That's too many threes. For some reason, I'm wanting to put another 3 in there. So here's what would happen. If you did that in a month, it would pay you in base pay $2,000. If you did it every week, it would pay you $2,000 per week. Okay. So we could shrink that number down, but to get to your goal, if your goal's smaller, or we might have to add another pay line if you've already reached that goal to achieve your next goal. So how many lines of business is what I'm saying right here, okay? And we can talk about that in a minute. So is there anybody else? Do you want to share one you wrote down? Andrea, what's one you had? Let me just.
I'm sorry, I didn't unmute. I didn't hear.
Did you have one you wrote down?
Yes, I did. So, well, I have to get to the right page. So
Okay.
personally, so what needs to happen? I have to personally recruit. Is that what you're saying?
What is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Like what's the gap?
Well, I need to optimize 2 more pieces of business. That's my gap.
Okay. You need to optimize 2 more pieces of business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. Maybe I go that way. How much sales volume? See, I hope what you're coming up with is like, what's my sales volume I need to get to $2,000 a month? Well, if I get this pay line to 13,334, even if it's broke up over 4 weeks, but I achieved that, I know in base pay alone, I'm going to make $2,000. Then I got match pay to include with that. I've got other things to factor in. Okay. And I'm sharing this with you because this is where my head goes. Okay. A rep that's normally on Chalk Talk is messaging me. So, how much sales volume? Does anybody else want to share? Does this make sense? Andrea, am I confusing? Follow me here. I go through, I role play with Andrea, so I can't tell.
It makes sense. I'm looking to see if anybody's raising their hands. It's hard for me. Okay, Eva is. So you can unmute
Eva,
yourself.
what
Eva.
is the gap between where I am and where I want to be? Like I got to know what I've got right now to work with.
It
And then
makes
where do I
sense.
want to go?
It makes sense because it gives you a system where it takes the confusion and gives a straight path. So the straight path for me is optimizing the legs that I have to get that 2,000 per leg per week. So it takes like all of the what I call the buzzy bees, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's not, it's like, okay, you have a goal. This week, red week needs to be optimized. Boom, do it. Okay, now green week needs to be optimized. Boom, do it. So it gives you a goal.
Okay, you just nailed it. You just said a great point. Look here. So if this was you, okay, this is the way my brain works. So follow me. I'm going to assume that you have a power line. Okay. I'm going to assume that you have a power line that is got more volume than any other lines you've got. And then we're going to call them baby lines. Okay. Let's say you've got some baby lines here. And let's say this one's doing 2,000 consistently in auto ships, and this is doing 1,000, and this is doing 4,000. Okay. What Eva just said is none of these are doing what yet?
Optimizing.
13,334. So guess what? You've got a gap there that's a lot of income, a gap here that has a lot of income. Okay. Raise your hand if this is you. Andrea, let me know while my back's turned. Is people raising their hand? Do you have, it doesn't have to be exact numbers, but it doesn't have to be exact lines, but is this you where you're doing some volume, but you're not optimized yet?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Lots of yeses.
So now I'm going, oh my gosh. So this is a gap. This is a gap. What's the gap? So now I go, okay, there's my gap. So now I can create a game plan. So what would my game plan be?
You know, Coach, the biggest thing I think I realized, and I just realized it, and this makes sense to me now. We came over, some of us came over from Lima, which is a totally different comp plan. So we look at it like I always looked at monthly goals, but I never broke it down to a weekly goal. So all of a sudden now I'm looking and going, I need to concentrate on 1 week and get that week optimized. And I've never thought of it that way before. Never thought of optimizing by week instead of by organization.
So true. So true. And so I'm going to use this example. What would be my game plan right here? I'm going to get a call together with this organization right here. Okay. And I'm going to find out who shows up to the call. And then I'm going to give some action items of the ones that do want to go to work, that raise their hand. And we're going to start doing things like one-on-ones, two-on-ones, having conversations, doing stuff. And then I'm going to have a conversation with this group. And I'm going to spend my time with the people that raise their hand, that show up to the call, because I know this, as I move that needle of volume, what's going to happen to my income? It's going to climb. It's going to rise. It's going to rise. So the more people, so this is where I spend my time. You don't have to have 3 lines. Maybe it's 2 lines. Maybe it's 1 line that you're focused in on. But you've identified your gap of what you need, because if, to get you to where you want to go. Does this make sense? Is this adding any value? Like, do you get that? Andrea?
Yes, yes. Lots of
Am I
nods.
confusing? Okay, good deal. I just
No,
want to
you're
make sure I
doing
don't
great.
confuse anybody. Here's a big one. We've got to identify where I am today, because we live in the past, we dwell on the past, and we don't want to talk about where we're at today. Well, listen, just so everybody can feel better together. Who just bought Twitter, pretty much? Who's now? Huh?
Elon,
Elon Musk. Do you think he's got some money? Yes. Do you think that he's striving to have more? Yes. So is he hoping? And he's a South African dude. That's right, Erica. He is a South African dude. But here's the thing. So it's okay to know where I'm at today. But I always listen to people. And here's what they won't put this, because they talk to me and they go, well, I'm not where I want. I don't make much money. And it's like consciously they're trying. You got to get out of that. That's kind of like me going right here to this and going, well, I don't invest in crypto. I don't have any real estate. I don't have a second job. I've got $5 in the bank, no stocks. That's opportunity is what that is. That's opportunity. So I got to get past going, where I am today is not where I want to be. Well, it's not for Elon Musk either. He wants more. So I just got to go, hey, I'm making $75 a week. And my goal is for it to be $2,000 a week. Okay, well, we got some work to do. So we got to figure out where my gap is, which is what we just did. Kind of the scenario here. This is kind of the way my organization looks. Maybe yours does. We're all different. I figure out my gaps. I figure out the people I need to work with. I got to go figure out if they want to work. And then I got to get after it. Okay. Hope that makes sense. And then the last thing is, where do I need to be? Which is what we're trying to figure out. So, all right, I'm going to move because I'm going to run out of time. So, now, the second question was what, Andrea? What must happen to fill the gap? And I kind of just explained that. I jumped the gun. Okay. This is not scripted. So I jumped the gun a little bit. What must happen to fill the gap? Well, this, right? Is everybody following me? Andrew, you can pan back out. So I figure out the plan, which is what Eva said. What's got to happen to fill the gap? I know the gap. Maybe I make $75 a week and I want it to be $500 a week. So what's the gap? Well, $425, right? So how do I get to that $425? Well, I go figure out where I got to go work. And the work might be on you. You might actually be sitting here and you don't have any of this. You don't have a pay line. Well, guess what? Now you have to go put in the customers and the brand partners to get the movement started. Okay. But you'll find your gap by looking at where you're at. It's hard though. People don't like to do that. So that is what's got to happen to fill the gap. Andrew, anything you want to add to that, or anybody else? Raise your hand if you got anything.
Well, I would say that it's also, sometimes what we need to fill the gap is between our two ears. So it might be that I have a poor work ethic, or I need to build my belief in our industry, or I need to become a product of my product. Like sometimes the gap is what we need, the work we need to do with ourselves.
Great. That's awesome. Health journey. So I'm just going to tell you right now, one of mine right now is health journey. I mean, I can look at myself and go, well, I can hide myself in clothes. I can do this, I can do that. But I'm always battling my health journey. Whether it's just different things, different bad habits in my life. I've got them. I'm flawed. And so right now, I've made a declaration. I've put it out there that I'm going on a massive health journey. I'm going to live to be 150. Okay. And I got to get healthy, and I got to put the right things in my body, and my alcohol intake has got to change. There's just a lot of things, but you can throw it in the sand and not want to talk about it, or you can just come out and say, you know what, I'm not ashamed of it. There's only been one perfect person that's walked this world, and it's not me. So mental is so much, man. Is your work ethic, does it stink? Are you in a funk? Have you done network marketing so long you're kind of tired of it? You're over it a little bit. Like, you don't like to sit down with the new person. It's like, oh, I got to tell my story again. Like, I don't know what it is for you. But this mental game is definitely a gout for people. Anybody else got one before we move to the next? I just don't want to run out of time.
I can't
Okay.
see. So if somebody has
Okay.
something that they want to say, you guys can.
I want to move quick. Y'all get the gist of that. What can I control? What can I control? This is a big one because I have spent time trying to be corporate. I've tried to spend time trying to decide what videos need to be ran, the shipping, how it needs to be fixed, and all of that. And I know there has to be an ambassador willing to take on that. But let me tell you, if me or you are sitting at home trying to get corporate perfect, our income goals are going to decline. What can you control? Okay, well, you can control enrollments from the standpoint of prospecting people. I never focus like there. I focus on prospects. Will I be in the presence of a prospect today? And if I do that every day, I'm trying to get in the presence of prospects. There's so many great leaders on here that do this. Tammy's constantly it's like, wow. I mean, she's just constantly looking for avenues to be in the presence of prospects, and so many others on here do. What can I control? Can you control your work ethic? It's hard though. It's hard to make the commitment. It's kind of like my health goals. Like, it's hard to go. If I go out to eat and they say yes to a drink, I'm just going to pass because my goal is worth more than that night, right? Or that social interaction. And so what do I have to do? I have to maybe listen to audios on how to overcome that, right? So work ethic is the same way. Like, what do you need to do during the day to get you to where you want to go? You got to figure that out work-wise. That's why I was saying you got to figure out and have conversations with people going, listen, the stormy days coming. We lived through it. I'm not going to live through it again. I want to get our income up to this point. So I got to go out and hump it. I told Anthony Moreland the other day, he was on the road. I mean, Anthony's been in the business forever. And I'm like, dude, you get on the road like that, the sky's the limit, because I lived it. I breathed it. Like, I know what happens when you start connecting people and the synergy and the energy. It goes crazy. So I would say work ethic. Andrea, look around for me.
I think Tammy might have something. And Sandy, I don't know if you do.
Tammy?
Tammy does.
Definitely does. Can you unmute Tammy?
She can unmute.
Okay,
yeah.
you good.
Yep. Hey, you guys. So what can I control? I think we can control a lot. And you've already hit on some really good things. But what I wanted to add, Brent, was this, is that we actually create our appetites. We create the things that actually satisfy us. As it is with our own appetite in our own bodies, if I'm putting junk in my body, I start to crave that, right? If I start putting healthy things in my body, I start to crave that. We actually create our own appetites. And so when I look at what can I can control what I actually create. I can control that in any given day, what is satisfying to me is going to change because my appetite for that's going to change. So now I'm satisfied when I put together an event where people are connecting and relationships are being built and there's synergy and energy happening. And I can walk away from that and I'm satisfied with that because I know I've done the work that actually creates what I want to happen. I want to see those relationships. It's just like in your health journey, when you put our products in our body, our good supplements, we're on a nice sunny walk, we're doing the thing, we feel good. We know when we've done what actually creates the right appetite within us. And I would say that's actually true in our business as well. And so when you're thinking about what are you doing every day that creates an appetite for income producing activity in your business? Am I doing it every single day? And I know it's different for lots of people here, but I know what my appetite is, and I know when it's been satisfied. And I also know when I've wasted time, I've spent time with people that are just negative, dragging the whole thing. I know that because I've created that. So I just encourage you, create your own appetite, be aware of what it is, and then make a decision to put the good in. I think it's Tracy says, junk in, junk out. It's like to put the good, create a good appetite. And pretty soon it's so natural to you. You'd never go through the Burger King line. You would never do it because you're going to be sicker than a dog if you do. So I don't know. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Does that create?
No, it absolutely. And it identifies, if anybody ever follows Tammy and her team, it identifies what they do. They create an appetite. Just one way is they've created an appetite around events. And it's not always the big family dinners.
No.
Like if you wanted to retire into something to where you're just breaking bread with people constantly, like they don't go to lunch by themselves. They do dinners. They get people together for network lunchings. They hospitality their business, right? To a beautiful thing. They've created an appetite for hospitality, and they call it events. But everything is an event.
That's
Zoom's an event.
That's
everything's an event, but they've created this hospitable environment and it's why people like myself get excited about going to Colorado Springs next weekend, because it's almost like church. There's so much energy around it. There's so much fun around it. It's like, holy crap. And then money's attached to it. I'm in. So that Tammy, that was perfect. And I just want to say this. What can you control? You can control, I jotted a few of these down to think about. You can control the culture. Tammy said it, positivity, hospitality, like energy, upbeat, like you are the driver of that ship. What are you driving it to? The culture is yours to create. And I would say this, leadership. What are you doing to promote leadership? Because your business is only going to rise as big as your leadership.
Yes.
So if you're making $4,000 a month and you want to make 20, your leadership has got to rise. So you go, Brent, why do you do the chalk talk? I want to help leaders. I want to help leaders grow. Okay. Does it help me if leaders grow? Yeah. And then I believe when you add value to leadership across away from your team, it even brings more to your team because you're being able to leverage then a lot of other people. So get involved outside of your organization. that's some things I could say that I could control. I'm going to move because we're about out of time. What needs to change? This is a big one, and I'm going to move fast. Please try to do this exercise. What needs to change? I got to first say me. Like, that was my deal with my health journey. Like, I'm the problem here. I like pizza. I like a cocktail. I like socializing. Like, and then I'm mad because my sides are growing. I'm going, I got fog in the morning. Like, there's a lot of negative. So I'm like, I got to change. Same way with my business, same way with my money. I don't like where my money's at. I want it to be here. Here's the things I need to change. And it's okay to have a little fear attached to it. Like, I know some tough times are coming and I want to be prepared for that. So another thing is, I got to announce that I want to change. But then what needs to change? Is it the culture? Like, if I were to ask you, for the ones that's got teams on here, like, is your team positive right now? Do they have energy right now? If not, identify your legs that need to grow that hadn't reached 13,334. Do a Zoom, do a call, do an event with just that team. Get them there, see who shows up. You know, here's the scary thing. You might have 2,000 and only 10 show up. Guess what? There's your runners. Okay? Look at it as opportunity, not dwell in the past or negativity. So, and then the last thing, what needs to change? Maybe your location. You go, surely people wouldn't move in this profession to a different location. What if you were a stewardess? What if you were a teacher? What if you were a doctor? Like, would you move? Tammy just got back from Louisiana where her son's going, and we're so proud of him. And it's like, people move all the time. This is a profession. Come to Colorado Springs and you'll hear Tracy Turnberg, that has never had another job in his adulthood, talk about the power of this profession. So sometimes you go, I'm in a place of population of 200. I got to get out. My mentor moved from Daytona Beach to Orlando, Florida, to get to a bigger demographic. He moved into Lake Mary, Florida, to get to a bigger demographic for Orlando. He's been there for 30 years, but he made the move because of the business. You got to figure out those things of what needs to change. So, and then the last one, go ahead, Andrea, you had something to say?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I made a noise.
This one was probably one of my favorite. What do I have to work with? Okay. Think about this. What do I have to work with? I'm just going to put some teams. What leaders do I have to work with? You go, I don't have any leaders. Well, why? Do you not go to any events? Have you not networked with our company to identify with some leaders that could help you? If not, now's a great time to start. Okay. What do I have to work with? What about customers? Have you ever went to your back office and pulled up customers and went, I'm going to reach out to them today and tell them, just, I'm checking on them. They might not know me, but I'm checking on them. And I'm going to see how they're doing. Right. And I'm talking about your personal customers. Don't ever go down into your downlines, customers, and do that. Okay. Because that would be a little awkward. But your customers, right? The people you brought in the business. What about Shop Live? Do you really take advantage of our Wednesday Shop Live? That's a great way to move your needle of your volume. Okay. And if you have a team, get them to start taking advantage of it, because now you leverage your team's work ethic into your business. And how do you get your team involved? Go put them on a call, the area of optimization you need, and go see who showed up to play, and get them involved with something like a Shop Live. What about international expansion? We just opened up Africa. I'll give you an example, not too long ago. So as you're getting this team, so here, I hope this helps, and I'm going to leave you with this. You've got your power line, okay? But Andrea is going, okay, I'm just using Andrea because she don't care. Andrea is going, okay, I'm doing an average of 6,000 in PV a week. I want to take that to that 13,334. I need to get that. I got the gap right here. Here's my gap, right? So here's what Andrea says. I'm doing this quick. Sorry, guys. Trying to be quick. Here's what Andrea says. Okay, there's my gap. There's a lot of income to be made on a weekly basis right there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on my customers that I've gotten over the years. I'm going to reach back out to them. What's the worst that can happen? I'm going to do a team call and see who on my team shows up to the call in this area. And then I'm going to get them tuned into Shop Live. I'm going to get them tuned in to trainings. I'm going to get them tuned in. I'm going to bring a leader on. I'm going to bring a leader on to talk to them. Okay. Then I'm going to talk to them about Africa or Europe or an international expansion. Hey, who do you know, group, in Africa? Do you got a youth minister? Do you got a missionary person you know? Like, who do you know? I'm not going to focus on 100 different international expansions. I'm going to focus on one, and I'm going to focus on where I need it to be, and then I'm going to go to work there. I'm going to go to work there, and it's kind of like scratching a wall. If you scratch a wall long enough, guess what ends up happening? A hole starts to form. If you go to work right here and you move in that enough and enough and enough and enough and enough, the volume starts to rise. New people start to come in. New customers start to come in. New opportunity starts to happen. And then guess what? It happens. You hit your goal and you set that deadline for a year down the road. So I've got, okay, you know how much gap you need. Is it a big, wide gap? I got to go work harder. Is it a smaller gap? Well, congratulations. Just go focus in the right areas. So I said all that. We're out of time. I hope this added value. Again, if you'd like the PowerPoint, reach out to Andrea Rosser. She'll be more than happy to send you the PowerPoint. Guys, I love you. I appreciate you. All I want these Chalk Talks to be is just something that can possibly add value in your life. And Andrea, as always, thank you so much for your help and your leadership for putting all this together for us.
Thank you, Coach. That was great.
Thank
Thank you, Coach. It was really good.
That was
Thanks,
awesome.
Tammy.